Evening. This is a meeting of the Air Conservation Commission on Thursday, April 23rd, 2026 in Scenic Air Town Hall. With us in attendance tonight are Commissioner John Schmallenberger, Conservation Agent Heather Hampson, Clerk Jenna Maya, and Commission Member George Bacon, and Vice Chair Mark Phillips. And I am the chair, Jessica Gino, if I forget myself. Okay, first on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Any changes?
Only have one change, and that's to add the DEP file number for the National Grid project of 100-051.
Okay, so we're just
0501, excuse me.
100-0501. Yeah, so it's just a correction to, there is a DEP file number for the New England Power Company Notice of Intent. Other than that, very minimal amendment. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So,
Second?
All in favor?
aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? Crickets? That passes. Next on the agenda is approval of the meeting minutes for April 9th, 2026.
Mark sent a correction today, so I edited it. It was just in the which street. I put like OFC instead of order of conditions, so I typed it out. It's in there now. I sent it to Heather to print out, but everything else is the same.
Okay.
But I actually checked that, and you can use OFC. So it doesn't necessarily have to change, but I was looking at that. I was like, is that just something I wasn't aware of? So.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer if we had a standard either order of conditions written out or all caps OOC. Yeah.
Well, it's written out.
Just to,
Okay.
either way is fine.
Okay.
Anybody else have issues? I did not give it a thorough scrubbing.
I was surprised I didn't have an email from you.
Well, you looked so sad at our last meeting, I thought I would put my microscope away.
No, it has nothing to do.
All right, motion to approve the meeting minutes as corrected.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? Crickets. Okay, next on the agenda is reopening the continuing the public hearing for the notice of intent for Sawyer May LLC, Orion Park Drive. This was a notice of intent opened under the bylaw, not the Wetlands Protection Act, so there is no DEP file number. What is the latest? Here we have...
Good evening, board members. Joe Cataldo, manager, Sawyer May LLC. We are making progress almost as fast as a turtle walk, but we're getting there. Little pun. No, it's a turtle hurdle. So where we are at now is that Goddard Associates has sent the impact to Mass Wildlife. The response back was that as of yesterday from Tim, and I'll just read it to you. Tim McGuire, thank you for sending the assessment. This addresses the first item of additional information. Today they have not received materials to address the second item listed herein. I've received two separate conceptual plans with two different dates on them, showing different limits of work. I note that the habitat assessment includes an impact analysis of a portion of the 2012, 28, 23 plan. In order to continue my review, I need one cohesive plan showing all proposed work as outlined in the second item of the division's determination. Until I am able to understand the limits of work associated with the project in the context of on-site habitat, I cannot provide much feedback. Do you have a sense of when I can expect that? So what we've done is we've contacted Goddard Associates. Our engineer, Sean Malone, is going to take a plan and show the impact on Lot 4, and it's only on Lot 4 only. We're buying Lot 4 and Lot 5, but there is, and I'm sorry that I don't have a bigger plan, there is an impact on the corner of Lot 4.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, Sean will send a plan to Goddard no later than Monday, that we will then get them to bless and then forward it on to Mass Wildlife.
Okay,
So stay tuned.
all right, so we're not holding things up there.
No, not at all.
Good.
I know you have a meeting in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I'm going to have surgery that day, so I won't be here. I'll make sure that my son, or more than likely my son, will be here just to report in where we're at. Hopefully, he did say, he meaning Mass Fish and Wildlife, that he as a heads up, I'll be in the area this week and might stop by to take a look at the pool myself. I didn't know it was a pool. I thought it was a pond, but anyway.
Oh, the vernal, well, it's
Vernal pool.
Vernal pool, yeah.
All right. But anyway, we're moving, but not as fast as we'd like. So we'll certainly stay on it. The other thought is, do we move forward with this as an additional condition on the order conditions? But honestly, I don't want to purchase property at this point until this is resolved. So
That seems wise.
I don't know if the board needs to see this plan, but basically it's,
Yeah, I can pull it up if you really want to.
no, I mean, it's just basically, unfortunately, it's this corner of Lot 4 that he's asking about. There really is no impact to it, but, that's his job to
Yeah, it's temporary.
Right.
Yeah.
confirm that. So, hopefully we can get this moving a little bit faster.
Okay, and did Goddard or anybody say anything definitively on the barbed wire?
That can go.
Yeah, they
We-
said that the Goddard did mention that should probably come out. So when I did draft the special condition, I did put that in there.
Yes.
But also the condition of anything that goes on, per natural heritage, but we are keeping it open. So who knows? Could take the old barbed wire out, and the natural heritage could still require a fence from what was in there before. But that could have been for a different reason. So we're
The
just
farm. Yeah.
waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
And once we do the construction and install that drain line, we'll replicate that area and provide a landscape plan of what we'll plant there. So get that buttoned up.
Okay,
All right?
so we will see your son in 2 weeks and
Yes.
wish you the best with
Thank you. Shoulders are never fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I had my knee in the fall, so it's like those joints
I know.
in
Thank
us,
you very much.
in us young sprites.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks. Have a good night. Thank
you.
you.
Good
to see you.
Um,
Thank you. Take care. Be well.
so we'll have what's our next meeting date?
May 14th.
May 14th, so it's 3 weeks. So motion to continue the public hearing for Sawyer May LLC to Thursday, May 14th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed?
May 14th.
May 14th. Yes. Okay.
No, but I don't have that open.
Next on the agenda is the continued public hearing for DEP file number 100-0501, New England Power Company transmission line maintenance and upgrade. Howdy. And state your name for our records publicly.
My name's Allison Milliman. I'm with BSC Group, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, New England Power Company.
Thank you. So what is where are we at with this application now?
So we received the DEP file number, which was just read off. I received a comment from the Central Regional Office, which I provided a response to. The comment was around a stormwater swale that was identified in the field. It didn't necessarily have any character like the hydric soil or vegetation characteristics. But on the notice of intent maps, we did afford it the 100-foot buffer zone as a conservative measure. Okay. And the question from the DEP was, whether there are performance standards associated with that 100-foot buffer. And so I relayed to that, you know, the work is all temporary and within the 100-foot buffer, so it's temporary construction matting and overhead work.
Yeah. Okay, so, was there anything coming from Natural Heritage on this one?
Yes, on April 13th, and I apologize, I didn't forward it on to you guys. We did get a letter back from Fish and Wildlife stating that there was no adverse effect for the project. So there's no conditions on there.
Okay. And is this the one you prepared the draft?
I did quickly, I did the order of conditions. I started the draft special conditions. I didn't finish them, but I was using the template from the previous transmission line on the other side of town, because we just did one like a year ago. So I was just going to use those special conditions. The one question I had that I don't think was in the narrative was just, do you have the square footage of the matting that's going to be put down? Do you have an approximate idea of how much matting is going to be put down?
Well, not off the top of my head, but it is in the narrative.
Is it in the narrative? Okay,
I can get that for
briefly
you.
read it. Okay, if it's in the narrative, that's fine.
Isn't that matting also something that you put down in one area and then take up when you move to a new area or reuse?
Yes, it depends on the longevity of the proposed work in the spot. Sometimes they'll repurpose, move things around.
All right, so
the previous one that we did, that it was more or less the standard special conditions on there. There wasn't anything additional. The only additional one that we had put on, that I put on there before for the other transmission line, was that we requested that the matting not be left on site through a growing season.
okay.
So it's not left through the winter and then in the spring, whether it's just,
Okay.
if that's at all possible. I'm not sure how your construction works, because I have my way here. I'm delivering an excavator.
Yeah,
On
we
the other
do
one.
have actually time of year restrictions that need to be adhered to, so the matting has to go in at a certain time.
Yeah, we said it to be done during like a soggy, wet time, or if it's doing
No, I mean,
dry or frozen.
for natural heritage, we're
Yeah.
gonna have time of year restrictions, so the matting has to go down at a certain time.
Yep.
And then they can't put it down again outside of that certain time.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Okay, that's
gonna be
fine. I
possible.
don't, not sure. I said this is one of those ones that I'd rather bring it to you to make sure that something's feasible before I
Yeah.
write it in there and make sure that it's something you can adhere to. So.
So once it goes down during that period, it
can't
can't
be
go up
removed yet, 'cause
until
that's-
you're done, or, yeah,
Right. Got it. Because of the risk of the turtles.
Yep,
yeah,
which makes sense.
okay. Any other issues for you, Heather?
Nope.
Okay. Comments from commissioners? John?
Nope, I'm good to go.
Jen? George? Mark? I have none. So I think we're at the stage where we're ready to vote to, are we ready to vote to issue the order of conditions and sign it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, and I said I have the draft for the special conditions.
Okay.
It's the same ones. I'll just make sure that because when I read through it earlier, I didn't think it was, I didn't see it was in there. So I'm just going to verify that the matting condition's not in the old one, make sure it's not in this new one, and it's the same
Okay.
one from the last one.
And any further concerns from you, Allison?
No.
Okay. So, George, would you like to make the motion?
Move to issue and sign the order conditions for DEP file 100-0501.
Motion has been moved. Mark Phillips has abstained himself on this particular application.
Second?
Seconded by John Schmallenberger. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? None. So the matter passes 4-0 unanimously. So,
You didn't have to come a long way for this 5 minutes, did you?
It's about an hour and a half for me.
Oh my goodness.
so would you like to?
It's a nice
share-
drive.
It's nice.
It's a nice day too. So
Yeah,
I was like, I don't.
Would you like to share your life story or anything? While
Oh, I'm sure that would just bore the heck out of you all. Thank you though for the offer.
Okay, so nothing else.
So we're
You'll
all set?
get the order from
Okay.
Heather.
All
We
right.
have a motion to close the public hearing.
So
So We have a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4-0. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Allison.
Thanks for coming.
Okay. Have a nice drive back.
Thanks.
Watch out for turtles.
I always do. Deer.
Always
And
do.
deers and frogs.
It's that time of night the deer are out.
Yeah. Okay, next on our agenda are office and member updates.
I will hold off on mine and let Mr. Diskin do his public input if we could.
Okay, so we will do public input from Ken Diskin. Are you here as a member of the public or a member of the planning?
I'm
board?
here as a member of the Senior Center Building Committee,
Okay,
and I'm hoping I'm not overreaching. It dawned on me today that we perhaps should have reached out a little sooner to Conservation regarding the fact that we have 2 articles on the town meeting on Monday night that have an indirect but a connection to you guys. And I thought it made sense to come tonight, and as I said, maybe we should have been on our agenda in the past, but the long and short of it is that we ultimately will be coming back to you, and maybe we can chat about it a little tonight, regarding the Endangered Species Act, the Mass Endangered Species Act. So just for background, typically this has been done by Dan Van Skelquick. He's been pretty much doing the permitting through the state, the 2 permits we need from the state. The Endangered Species Act and the Environmental Policy Act. He's been heading that piece of the project up. He's on vacation, won't be back till Friday or Saturday. Katie's on vacation, so I said maybe I should just come tonight and we can, as a courtesy, take a couple of questions if it comes up on what's going on. So the long and short of it is that the easement, there's 2 things that they're going to talk about on the town meeting warrant. And one of them is they're both out of your jurisdiction, to the best of my knowledge. They're out of your jurisdiction, but I just think it's a good, sensible thing to talk about as a board and whatnot. So what ended up happening, I wish we had the GIS, but it doesn't really matter.
I can pull it up if you want me to.
If you can pull it up for just a second. But what ended up happening is we developed a lot, and I can show you this if you want to just pass this around to take one. And we developed a lot that's basically in the corner of the DPW land, just out of the area of jurisdictional wetlands and also the floodplain that's been recently updated. So we're not in those areas, okay? And it's tremendous soil, so it looks like it's going to be an opportunity to have nice soil. But we are within 2 required. We're in an ACEC. We're in the the requirement of the Endangered Species Act because of evidence that on mapping shows 2 particular endangered species. One is, of course, what we're all familiar with, the Blanny turtle. The second, although it's mapped, is the an endangered. It's the blazing star plant. As it turned out, we had a lot of work done on this in advance. With Glided, interesting enough, is also working for us. Who was working for Cataldo, and through a survey with Natural Heritage, and the plant is not there. So we found no evidence of the plant. So that went away as part of our requirement. So the requirement is strictly the Blanny turtle. So Dan Van Skelquick is well into the process with them. And in the process of doing that, it becomes, as you're probably familiar with, a 2-to-1 requirement. So we have about 3+ acres of land. As a result of that, we need to set aside 6 to 7 acres of conservation land to offset the take, which is going to be. So we tried like crazy not to have a take. We had a lot of meetings. I was in a couple, but not all of them. And it turns out that it's going to require a take. And Dan has that documentation. So if you look at the site, you can see what I handed out, and I highlighted on that. We're in that upper right-hand corner, just below the word Devons, is where the projects are going to be built, right there, okay? So this is 76+ acres of DPW property. We're on a small piece of that corner on Bishop Road. As a result of that, we need to work with conservation for the take. So we had, I'm sure Heather is very familiar with what's going on, but I'm doing this basically as just a courtesy, even though it might be a little premature. So as a result of that, the land of the proposed take, and I'll show it to you here, you can take this piece, is, I think I'll show you. Just pass this around if you want. So maybe before I do that, I want to go back to the utilities, okay? So what happened with this is there's a utility line right here that goes through the site. Or maybe out here where the dotted line is. After a year of work with National Grid and a lot of engineering and help on their part, we're going to be bringing a new utility line from the existing transmission line down this hill to the site. So that's the closest angle to get to the buildings, is from here to there. When that happened, that also increased the amount of acreage in the tape by a fraction. So we're not sure if it's going to be about 7 acres. The plan I just gave you, I think, is an older, I think I might have showed it at 5 or 6 acres, something like that. So that also was involved with the Endangered Species Act. They determined that it's all going to be a narrow strip, but still resulted in probably another acre of land required to be given away in the tape. So the land we're proposing to give away for the tape and where we need your cooperation and while we have official meetings is in this corner that backs right up to the oxbow. So this is all wooded on that side, and there's a piece of wetland there. It probably goes from right around here, right along that section to that side as demonstrated in the drawing I just gave you, this right here. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing this up tonight is because the two articles talk about the easement, number one. So I want to just clue you in where that easement is. The town will do the easement. National Grid does the drawings. It's their drawing, it's their easement, it's their language, and the town has reviewed it and we've signed a contract with them. So there'll be a narrow strip like this, comes down, and that is the easement that we're talking about Monday night. Now, Dan may do this presentation Monday night, but I just figured, why the heck, come here tonight, maybe, if you have any questions, that's where you're going.
Can you also, just for anybody listening to our meeting, just explain what it is with the take?
Yeah,
With
so,
just
so I'm not the expert, look at that, smile. So the point of when you go to the Mass Endangered Species Act, they made a determination that that is definitely an area that has an impact because there is evidence of either nesting or movement of some sort that you find, and you can go ahead.
I just want to make one clarification for anyone who's watching, because we just had Joe Catelli here from Natural Heritage. What Ken has discussed is natural heritage. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So just so no one's confused that they're watching it.
They're all
going,
requirements from
Right.
Mass Wildlife / Natural Heritage and
Yes.
Endangered Species Program.
Just wanted to make
Correct,
that
it's the
clarification.
Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program.
And a take is not, you're taking away habitat where the turtles are seen, but you're not taking turtles.
Correct. In their opinion,
In-
it's habitat.
just to make that
It's
clear to
It's a
people.
it's a mapped habitat, and it's been
Yeah.
determined by an environmental survey
Yeah.
that there's evidence of turtle activity.
Okay.
So that's a given. So as a result of that, the requirement is that you cannot give them the same amount of land, you have to give them twice as much land for
Same.
conservation.
Same if you fill a wetland, you have to replicate it on a 2-to-1.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're hoping very strongly that this is acceptable to our Conservation Commission, although that should come up in a hearing or a meeting, not tonight, and that the Town of Ayer Conservation Commission would in fact be the recipient of the conservation of the land, rather than going outside to a trust or someone else. It's fascinating that it's always still right within the Town of Ayer, and it's right there, so we don't have to do any kind of special requirements as far as it. We already own it.
And when you're recreating a 2-to-1 habitat, what are you changing on the existing conditions?
Well, that is going to be over my pay grade right now,
Okay.
because Dan has got that document.
Yeah, they typically through the natural heritage process, they might ask for
Oh,
a
so-
turtle nesting area or anything like that put on there, like we
Yeah.
seen when we did the MESA permits, through Stratton Hill
Right.
and that project. So those will, out of the permit, they might put separate conditions on there to ask for a nesting area to be installed.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's something that might be coming in the future. I think the first aspect of it is just conveying the land and getting that approval, and then
Yeah.
further down the road, maybe those conditions as far as, obviously, when work can be constructed, any sort of replication area, whether it's a nesting area or anything like that, would be installed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to follow up on that, so these are our plans that are submitted to the planning board, site plan review. They've also gone to them.
Yeah.
So they have looked at the fact that we have retention systems, and they've looked at the location of everything on the site. The final comments have not been received from them. in regards to that. But the architect and the engineer they know they need sloped curves, that kind of typical
granite
stuff
curving,
that's
all Cape Cod burn.
in the sketch
Curbs.
that Dan Van Skelken is working on is with them. So they've got the sketch of where this land is going to be. So that's kind of where that's at. So he's pretty much running that whole process, and he just comes back to the meeting and reports. That's kind of where we're at on that. So that's the reason I came, was just to kind of give you a little review. Hopefully it did something. So that was the idea.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Diskin? From commission members? Nope.
So I skimmed over the warrant article, and I thought it was just to allow the
Select board.
selectmen to engage in a conservation restriction.
Right.
Uh,
That's the
Not sure.
language.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're going to convey to us that's the same thing.
Give me that again, Sarah.
If you're going to convey it to this commission,
Yeah.
that's not the same as a conservation restriction.
Well, I think typically conservation restrictions don't go to town meeting for approval, but because this is
They
an
don't, I
easement?
think, yeah, and I had the same question that George
Yeah.
had, because I saw it listed selectmen, and I'm like, so if we're holding if there's a conservation restriction and the town owns the land, the Conservation Commission cannot hold the restriction. It's the
Right.
same entity, so
Right,
it
right.
works through the town.
Right.
So the way the warrant article reads, it reads that the select board, the way I read it, says the select board's gonna hold the land, but what you're saying is the Conservation Commission's gonna hold the
No,
land.
I
So then that's my question. I go, well, how can the town vote for the select board to take it if then the Conservation Commission's going to have it? Because then I think it has to go back to town meeting to change that. So I don't know if I can bring that question up to Robert before, obviously town meeting, and maybe, Dan can, or whoever presents the article can clarify that, because that was the one question that I had too. And I think if George has it, there'll be other members of the town that know about these things that will have similar questions, because that was one that I had. And just in more of a legal question, because if it says that in the select board that the town votes, then the select board has to own it unless it goes back to town meeting to change it.
But
I thought the
doesn't-
language was just to let the select board negotiate and
Yeah.
do something along
It-
those lines.
I think,
It could be that, and
Yeah,
that's,
it's just, it's
how I'm
not,
reading
it's
it.
not solidified who
Who
owns
owns
it, I
it?
think,
Okay.
yeah.
but I thought if the town owns the land, that the holder of the CR has to be an
An
independent
independent
entity.
Right.
entity, correct.
That would not be the town.
Correct, it cannot be the town.
Right.
Or the commission, the
Yes,
select
which is
board.
why, similar to Pine Meadow,
Right.
we're having
Yeah.
North County do the
Right.
CR because we're the holders of the land.
Okay.
We own the land.
Yeah, so I'm not qualified to get into the depth of that conversation, but the way I understood it was the article was written fairly open to try to
Okay.
let the select board
Select board do the
do
negotiations
the
for everything. Okay.
negotiations and stuff like that.
That
And it
makes
was
sense.
approved by town council, so
Yeah.
town
Yeah,
council.
and I'm sure they
reviewed
would know, so that makes
Right.
more sense. Thank you for clarifying that.
it. So that's kind of what it is.
Because the select board would be the ones to negotiate it and push it over.
And I just figure ultimately it's coming back here to be talked about,
Yeah.
with this
Yeah.
commission. Because more jurisdiction, for you guys, but.
All right. Any other questions from anybody? All right, thank you, Ken.
Thank you,
Well,
Ken.
Thank
See
you.
you, Anand, and see you Monday night at town meeting.
I just took a chance to what happened, so. Thanks a lot.
Okay, now, well, that was public input.
Well, me. Are we going to continue with public?
That's what I was just thinking.
Okay.
That was public input from Ken. Rachel, do you have any public?
I don't know if the board members have any updates. I didn't want
You can go ahead, that's fine.
Yeah, come on.
Kind of jump over our agenda.
Yeah.
to.
I didn't want to, yeah, I just figured.
That's right.
Hello, Rachel Kozera, 30 Groton Harvard Road. I just had a question with regard to the thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman, and the Conservation Commission. I just had a
Is it
quick. I'm still finding my words, I suppose, how to properly ease into this, so I apologize. I just had a question with regard to the conservation land and just keeping the integrity of, the land being for nature. I just have seen recently that, individuals are allowed to kind of decide that conservation land isn't conservation land anymore. So I didn't know if the town of Ayer had any dedicated legislation to protect what we have. It seems like the previously public input project is kind of chipping away at land reserved for animals and nature, and endangered species. And so just with the trend that I've seen, going to meetings, driving around town, it just seems that this may become a problem in the future. And I know specifically, I want to say with this, is it the SAVE Act that was just passed? I just don't know if there's modifications to the jurisdiction of conservation agencies. I didn't know if that was a portion that was in there. So I just felt like this might be an issue to come down the line, just with regard to, okay, so we're giving, this land for this particular project. What if down the line somebody wants to make a basketball court and they say, oh, well, this is better for the town because more people will use it. It's just kind of like, it just seems that we need just something to kind of lock in what we have. And so I just didn't know if there was anything that covers that, or if that's out of your jurisdiction.
Well, our jurisdiction.
Sorry, just a quick clarifying question to make sure I get it right in the notes. Are you saying that you're seeing land that was set aside officially as a conservation restriction being used for something else?
I would have no idea.
Okay.
Unless there was a big sign that said conservation area. I would have no idea. I just mean that land in general.
That was kind of emptier or like
or
wild
trees
is now.
Something that's being built up, which I understand because things change and, everything like that. But it's just, folks move to town, for specific reasons. So
there is a lot of land with a lot of trees around. We don't have automatic jurisdiction over all of it. So the state gives us, we're very bound by the buffer zones, et cetera, to wetlands and rivers and streams. But the area where we do have a little more input would be when legal documents for establishing conservation restrictions come into play, right? And then whether it's jurisdictional under the Wetland Protection Act or is not as relevant. It's just that it's a CR land that, by the legal terms of the conservation restriction, cannot be suddenly turned into a basketball court.
Unless it was written into the conservation restriction.
Right, unless that use was put in
don't
as a
include that.
possible use. Which I have not seen one that does that.
Not in this town, but they have
yeah.
done them,
So, so we do have limits.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I mean, I like protect all the trees, yes.
But I
But
think
we
the
can't.
other thing to think about too is that's some of the idea behind the open space residential development is that while we're allowing development, we're trying to restrict the amount that they're developing to hopefully limit the impact that you're identifying, and that's about as good as we can do because it truly is somewhat out of our jurisdiction for the moment.
I
Although,
appreciate that. Yeah.
But I mentioned at another meeting, and I'd like to, at some point, maybe we could have a Conservation Commission visit to the Planning Board meeting to discuss maybe strengthening how open space in an open space residential development, how that is defined.
And
I know and calculated, because I know we've had some strong differences of, yeah. So I think that would be something we could do jointly with the planning board. We don't have jurisdiction, as I understand it, to propose a bylaw amendment ourselves, but it would be certainly something to bolster that definition.
Myself and the town planner will be working on that.
Yeah, and then get the commission involved with the planning board. So, Mr. Diskin, do you have a comment?
You and I talked about this in the past, I think. And there's definitely a deficiency in definitions.
Right. and expectations as a result.
If you go on the state website for the model for OSRDs, there is a definition there of open space. But the weakness in the definition is the definition of open space, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So we can disagree on what the real open space is and its value. We went through this before.
Right.
It's a great point that it's not resolved. We need a tighter description of what actual open space is.
And that's what
And whether you can take down trees on open space and still call it open space, for instance, as an example. Maybe you can, maybe you can't.
Or put in a drainage easement right through.
Right, so that's something that we should
Really?
all be working
Yeah.
towards. Exactly. Well, we know what the story is, but
My apologies.
there's a weakness in the definition.
Yeah.
Not everywhere, but not every town, not every city, not.
Right.
I have yet to find ask a conservation agent or a state agency for a definition of open space. None of them have one that I have asked.
Right. It's,
So,
So the state model that you see is a model, but yet no one uses the definition.
yeah, exactly.
So-
it is an issue.
Creative.
my hope would be maybe
Yes.
that you and Danny could work on this
Correct,
more.
yeah,
And
this-
then we could have a meeting with the two boards prior to fall town meeting.
Yes, that would be the
good
ultimate
time.
goal. Because
Yeah.
both boards are getting busy with applications right now, but
Yeah.
hopefully that'll be one of the goals that we will be working on. I've been working on redoing our regs. I'm
Yeah.
done with those. I'm not. You guys can tweak them from there probably before we go public hearing. From there, I was going to go on to the OSRD regs, and I got to help with the stormwater ones as well.
You don't need sleep.
Hey, I can tell my kids I write lots, so you know.
All right. One other question that
Yes.
Rachel raised. What is the status of the SAVE Act?
So is that the Environmental Act by Bill?
Where they were
Fox?
making, remember we discussed they were making changes that were both, they were doing two things at once and. we
Yes,
thought they
so
could
that
do-
was an environmental bill that
Okay.
passed this, was it, I don't know, I, forgive me, I forget, I know federal level, when this goes to the Senate, then it goes to Congress, I get them flipped and I do
Yeah.
the same thing in the state level. It passed one house and it still is to go to the committee and go through the second. That environmental bill is the one that we had talked about with all the funding, along with some of the environmental changes. I know, I'm not 100% sure what the changes included, because all of a sudden you heard the statewide ban on plastic bags. That got thrown in there, I think, during committee. The redundant side part, that got thrown in, that's in there, but I don't think it's exactly how it was worded. That got tweaked, I think, when it was in committee. So I'd have to verify and read the whole thing, but those things are like 200 pages to figure out what is in there or not, as far as any changes to our Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. And that was only for specific projects. It was for housing,
Yeah.
housing
priority
choice, and
housing.
as Conservation Commissions and stuff, we'd all had asked for clarification on what the housing requirements would be. So I'd have to review and see what was in there, but it was specifically for certain housing projects.
Didn't they call it priority housing?
Priority housing, yes, for
And
priority
there-
housing,
but
yes.
A pretty broad generality.
They didn't define what priority housing meant, and it basically stated that it was gonna not follow any local bylaws or the Wetland Protection Act, which the question was raised, well, we're a home rule state, how can the state then do that? So I don't know what happened when it was in committee before it went to pass that, and it still needs to pass the second part. So it could still get changed from there. So I haven't seen it to see what changes had done,
Okay.
or I haven't heard anything from from MSNCP at all.
So it hasn't passed yet.
Okay.
But
It's
it's
passed
in
one
process.
hurdle, it hasn't
Right,
passed
it's
the other one
passed
yet.
one hurdle.
But again, like I said, there've already been modifications too, from what I know, because I said that I didn't even know that plastic bag ban got thrown in, I think, at some point, so from somewhere, so a statewide ban. So I don't know what part it may have changed as far as that priority housing section of it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that part was a bit concerning when I was
Yeah.
reading
Yes,
that,
we were
so-
all very concerned.
I know
And it was more or less defined, like
Yeah.
that, we're fine with housing, that we understand it, but define what it means. What is priority housing? Because anybody could come and say, well, that's priority. I need this.
Essentially.
You know, so I think that is getting it defined on that, and it still allows cities and towns to do their local bylaws to whatever extent.
Yeah.
And oversee it. So we'll have to see what modifications are made on it.
Thank you so much. And I just had one other question. And I feel a little bit, not I feel, but I suppose it's true. I feel a little bit thrown off by taking the like conservation land for the senior center. I feel like I didn't, oh, pardon me, I apologize. The endangered species areas, and just kind of, just in nature in general. I know that it was originally supposed to be in Prion Park, and that was a big deal. But I remember asking the woman who's in charge of the senior center currently, and asking her to her face in person, you know, oh, are you guys gonna be clearing any trees? And she was very vague about it and didn't say like anything to me. But I would have wanted to know about this before, you know, the meeting itself. So I just didn't know. I don't know if there is, you know, I guess I could go to the senior center meetings. I just wish that it was kind of more public in the sense of just more people knew about it so they could talk about it and express how they feel, just because I know a lot of folks have moved here because they love the way Ayer is, and obviously it's changing, but I just wanted to make that comment just because I was a little bit taken aback. But anyway, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Updates.
Okay. So obviously we own the town meetings on Monday. We will have the pond treatment article on there. Fully expect the same questions we get every year for that, but we'll see. Yesterday was the Earth Day event in the chilly raw weather on McPherson Road.
I wanted to go and I completely forgot about it.
No, it's okay. It was from 2 to 6. I left about 5:15 because I couldn't feel my hands anymore. But we did have quite a few people from Devon show up. There was several people from Ayer. Did have some good conversations and shared some the materials that we have. I did make a flyer that listed some of the books that we do have on our shelf. I'm going to make it a little more detailed and share that with the library so they can hopefully we can get some people to borrow some of our lovely planting and nature-based nonfiction and other books that we have in my office. Saturday is the town-wide cleanup, Sandy Pond Beach, 8:30. Help clean up the town. We're going to try this year to have everyone have 2 bags, one for recycled materials and one for trash, if we can. Again, it's I think the way because a woman from Mass Recycle was at the thing yesterday, Earth Day yesterday, and she brought that up to Mr. Tillotson. And he was fine with, telling people that it's purely if they want. I mean, so we'll try to do that. I told him he gave me a whole roll of Ayer recycle stickers. Like, we could just throw that on the recycle bag and just do it that way, make it easier for people to realize what they're doing. So that's Saturday. Hopefully everybody comes out, clean up some of the trash on the side of the road. I will be there this year. And it's not going to snow, so that's really good.
It's not going to rain either.
It's not going to rain. It's going to be fairly nice. For the next meeting, we do have, obviously, continue for Orion Park Drive, and we have 4 new applications, 2 from the DPW for RDAs for drainage improvements, one on Groton Harvard Road, and one on Bly Street near Peroni Park. And we have a NOI for 135 Oak Ridge Drive for an addition. And the other one is a request for an amended order of conditions from National Grid for the substation on Bishop Road. After they cleaned out the culvert and the head wall, they have had an influx of water that they realize they may need to expand the existing open water area. So they'll be coming in for an amendment for that request. And with the Bishop Road drainage improvements, going to be starting this spring into early summer to then fix the flooding concerns we have on Bishop Road to then flow out into that same wetland area. It would probably be better.
Sorry, is that one of the RDAs or is that just another item?
That was a previously approved RDA back in this earlier winter.
So hopefully, so they'll be back to discuss that. I didn't feel comfortable doing it as a site change because of the extent of the work within the actual wetland itself. So that'll be next meeting. Given that we will have 5 items on the agenda, we do still have the question of if and when we want to review and do the public hearing for the updated regulations.
For the what?
The updated regulations that I had
yeah.
sent out. I don't know if you wanted to look at possibly doing the public hearing for those on the second meeting in May or holding
Although
off
before
until
we
June.
do that, I have a couple things there are a couple areas I'd love to clarify.
Okay, good. Yeah, if you want to if we want to have a discussion on that,
Yeah,
we can do that. Do you want to? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you my comments tonight.
Okay.
And then see what other people.
Yeah, that's. It was just one that I had worked on them, and I'm like, I have other things that I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
I added enough. I added my tree item in there, the wetland mitigation section in there, the in-kind, I did try to delete a couple of the in-kind in there, the request for native plantings. I did add, as discussed at the last meeting, under the plan requirements, and we'll start throwing in the orders of conditions as well, that we're trying to eliminate the silk fence for erosion controls and just use silk socks.
Yeah.
Filled with biodegradable materials, if possible. So we'll hopefully get that changed on our plans to have that materials.
Right. So we would be banning that, but then I was thinking, okay, so for air solar 2, we required orange construction fencing in certain areas.
Yeah, no,
that would be something.
That would be
come
that's something
down.
separate. And when I put the in the regs in there, it was, if possible, it wasn't like we don't want the silk fence. At some points, it might be necessary given the slope of whatever that's out there. But we wanted geared more towards the erosion, the silk socks, the not straw wattles, but more of the erosion socks that are filled with mulch or other biodegradable materials, and get away from anything that has plastic in it, because those are usually
and maybe we can refine things so that when we issue that. The certificate of compliance isn't issued until silk fencing is removed, but it's so we could try to get it removed at the end of projects. But what's our leverage? Because I know
the issue with that,
dance.
and that's the big concern with it is all of our orders are hence usually recorded onto a deed, but a property can change hands sometimes without that ever being a trigger and coming do it to us. So, and we won't have one that comes until 10 years later. So it's one of those tricky things. It was put on there so they will get closed, but it doesn't always stick.
And then there's the other thing of timing. It's like we usually specify you can't take away the silk fencing until you've received a certificate of compliance.
Yep.
But that then takes away our leverage to say you can't get a certificate of compliance until you've removed the silk fencing.
Yeah, and then you have your 2 years of a growing period and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
it's a tricky dance. It's try to remove the idea of having silk fence as a whole.
Yeah, and maybe if where it's necessary, maybe we could have our agent give a provisional approval to remove it prior to the issuance of
which I have done for air solar too. We did that to get it removed when needed to get the water flow where we needed to the stream crossing. So yes.
Yeah, because you have the wording in the order of conditions that the silk fence must be maintained. I think adding the wording in there, it should be maintained so that it will make it easy to remove later on.
Yes.
Like to clarify that that's the intent.
Yeah.
Instead of just allowing it to be buried and then well, we maintain by putting in a whole nother set of it. It's like, no, we want the original out.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the big trick when I go through and do the inspections, like we did for the VOA for their parking area, inspected the silk fence, but they installed it in the late fall, early winter, and I'm like, well, technically it's only good for a construction season, so it needs to be re-inspected before you start work. So I had to go back out and re-inspect it, and it was basically good. Some of it fell over, but it was fine. But that's the thing is right. So we try to remind these contractors that if they start a project in the late summer where it's not completed through the winter, to have the silk fence re-inspected again, and the barrier walked by myself or someone to send a report in to make sure that everything is in good stands, and it does need to be removed. And unfortunately, if you're doing work in the middle of winter, it can't because it's frozen into the ground, because it's buried in, and then you have to dig. Yeah, it's a
that's another reason why it'd be great if we didn't even have erosion silt fence, because the silt socks just sit on top and staked on either side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Would straw bales be an alternative?
We use straw wattles now instead of hay bales because the risk of hay bales is they include invasives that then reseed. The reason most towns moved to straw was because, straw doesn't reseed. Well, that's not necessarily true because straw is planted every year. It's tilled under and then replanted every year, so the risk of invasives is lower, but there still can be in there. So the risk is lower, but it's not 100%. And it's not always wrapped in a non-plastic casing sometimes because, and I just know this from being married to a farmer, like hay bales, you have plastic twine and you have rope twine. Well, mice will eat the rope twine, so that's why they use plastic. So I think the same thing would happen with the straw wattles, is the encasing that's in there. Anything that's not plastic or biodegradable would either degrade or an animal would eat through it, which then would just bring straw everywhere.
Thank you.
All right. Any other updates?
Any other updates?
Anything on Sandy Pond, 71 Sandy Pond, did they?
The next meeting for that is the Monday after town meeting.
So a week from Monday.
Yes, that was what we scheduled, because I think the thought was to go to the select board the following week. So we had a tentative meeting for May 4th.
Okay. And
So more to come for that.
okay, so that would be, so both of those meetings would happen before our next meeting.
Mhm.
John, you able to make the May 4th?
Yes, I'll be
And
in that
you'll
at
be there.
home. Yeah.
Yeah.
At home with my kids ducking so they don't end up on camera while I make dinner.
All right. And then West Main Street Bridge.
West Main Street Bridge construction has started. The erosion controls were installed. I got pictures of everything that was done. I do need to reach out to the DPW because I do want to go out and see how they're progressing so far and to see if they're getting weekly reports on work that's being done or how we can get that, because I was positive that I think once full construction started they were going to be doing some sort of weekly reports in, so I just got to verify that.
Okay.
And then, so that project was starting, and then the Bishop Road utilities were getting put in, the water, sewer, and water and sewer,
That
Water.
are going to the senior
water
center.
and communications,
Yeah.
not sewer. Water and communications were going up Bishop. So when I was out for Earth Day, you could see the pipe had been delivered, but they hadn't started the construction because the lovely contractor the town has for that project wasn't going to do work on Monday because the town's closed. And I think because of the Earth Day event yesterday, they just decided to hold off. So the piping is there, so they'll probably start work within the next couple days on that one. So it'll be tricky getting around town. That project will last through the summer, through the beginning of June, mid-June. But it won't close a whole lane on Bishop McPherson Road, Bishop Road. It'll only use the shoulder.
And West Main Street that'll be down to
That'll
one
eventually
lane.
be down to one lane. It hasn't. I'm sure they'll announce that way in plenty of time before that happens.
Well, that's Massachusetts. There's sometimes you have to drive around all sorts of places to get.
It's spring and summer in New England. It's just
Yeah.
it's construction season until the snow flies.
May 1st is coming up. That's when we have the boards put back in Balch Dam.
Because Dan was on vacation, a gentleman from the DPW reached out to me and asked about that, and I said, "Oh yeah, I just get told they do that. So whatever it is you do, yes, please do that."
Sorry, I
So-
didn't hear what you said.
So in the fall, we take out the 2 boards from Balch Pond Dam,
Yeah,
and then in the spring,
you put them back.
put them back. We usually try to do it before we have any heavy rains.
Yeah,
which
so
I don't
they called me
see.
last week to do that, so I think
Yeah.
they were going to do that, and the point of that is you draw down the winter to get the hopefully kill whatever weeds in the cold.
Balch
Balch.
Pond, it's also the East Main Street.
East Main Street,
What is it called? East Main Street Dam?
Bridge, I don't know, there's a dam there.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, any,
Can I come back up for public
yes, we have
input?
a comment from Mr. Diskin
I
again.
should. I haven't brought this up in a long time, I almost forgot about it, and I hope I don't embarrass Heather. Anybody know what the result of the status is of the conservation restriction for air solar?
I sure do. So the conservation restriction has been drafted, has been reviewed by our town council, reviewed by the state. I also sent it over to North County Land Trust, since they're the ones that are going to be overseeing our conservation restrictions, to make sure they didn't have anything. That is all fine. I am still waiting for them to do their baseline report, and I'm hesitant to have them for us to get the CR ready to sign until I know when the baseline will be done. I haven't heard when the baseline will be done.
When you say they, who's the they are you talking about?
So I hear from Adam Costa, the attorney for the project.
So he's going to do it? Get Adam out there, that'd be good.
Well, no, he's not going to do this. He's not going to do but that's who I've been emailing back and forth. And again, when I ask the question about the baseline, I don't get an answer. So this was a few weeks, this was probably about a month or so ago, the last time we had these exchanges about the CR. So the state's just awaiting us for me to get them a clean version of the CR, or Attorney Costa a clean version, get them a clean version of the CR so it can be ready for signature. I'm awaiting for when we're going to have the baseline done, because as far as I know, the signage hasn't been put up. And I do not feel comfortable letting the town and the town sign a CR without knowing that the baseline's been completed yet.
So the signs we're talking about are similar to the signs I saw this morning?
Correct, yep. The little circles, yep.
Oh my God. That's miles around that place.
Yeah.
So it really hasn't anything to do with me as in a butter or close butter. It's more I'd say it's more my concern that the town get credit for the land.
Yeah.
The open space. That's really behind the whole discussion. And it's fascinating that the Audubon report that was put out in 2020, I believe, is now ready to be done again, like the 2025 or 2026 version. The 2020 version is the one that talked about the bylaws that have been changed in Ayer to add to open space, and it was very progressive. So to see that open space added in the next report would be a big deal.
Yeah, we're slowly getting all of our CRs completed and on the record to get to up those numbers. That's just one of those ones. It's the same thing with Panther Place once that one comes online too, and that's another one I think I'm waiting to hear from their attorney to be like, oh, when we get the same thing, I need that baseline done.
Panther Place?
Yeah.
Because Mass Mapper shows that being there, but
well, the CR hasn't been signed, so I mean, I could say it there, but it's not done.
I'm wondering if in future negotiations or CRs, and that's usually done by the planning board, right? That, you know how you have a bond set aside for other things? I wonder if it could have a just minimal.
That'll be a question we can maybe possibly add into the regulations when we change those, because I think it's not in there. We'd have a hard time getting that approved.
Yeah, as motivation for like.
The issue with the conservation restrictions that, you know, I've met with the planning board to go over it with all of them, how it does. CR is fine, that's just language. The baseline and the CR should be done almost because what happens is we had it a curly circle. We had the CR done, never had the baseline, so it was never monitored. You can't do the baseline until the project's complete because you need the boundary markers done.
Right.
So you need all the lots either marked out before you can do the baseline, which then comes into a thing with the planning board is when they first wrote one, it was before whatever occupancies. Well, you can't.
Yes, she remembers.
It's before the last occupancy, I think, is how it's written.
Right.
Which, I mean, in an instance with Panther Place, that got approved. I was still working for the planning board. I've been the conservation agent here for almost 5 years now, and that project is not completed. So it's a long process. So to try to figure out how to do the timing is very tricky. You can get the CR done, but then it's a matter of getting that baseline and the signage up and whether it needs to be in there, which is why I asked when we did Stratton Hill to have some sort of, when those houses abut the open space, to have some sort of fencing there or boundary markers, because until those signs are put up, the baseline's done or whatever, and a butter like we had it over on Shaker Mill Pond because nothing was up there until too late, they just assumed it was their property and didn't realize it.
Mhm.
They bought a house, it was on their deed, they have a conservation restriction, no one reads it. No one's gonna read the
Oh, yeah.
latitude and longitude,
Yeah.
it's gibberish.
Oh, yeah, yes.
We put language in there, like Heather just said. We thought it would be plentiful if you put it into the very last occupancy permit that you
Yeah.
had, but it still didn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
Then you can't really tell someone, you
Yeah.
can't move, you can't sell the house.
Yeah, so it becomes one of those tricky things where we have to figure out how to do it to get it done, how to have it marked on each property so it's fine, so people know, because
Yeah,
some homeowners are very good about making sure they
Yeah.
read everything, understand it all, but it's to rely on that is tricky. So, it's
so that's
figuring
where
that
I'm
out.
wondering if down the road there could be some sort of, a general estimate of what a baseline documentation would cost to
Yeah.
prepare,
Yeah, I know
and maybe
that.
double that amount and put it into a bond, they get half back when they
Yep. So like
complete it.
we
Something
paid,
to motivate.
we paid for one for Curly Circle. I know
Yeah.
how much they cost.
Yeah. So maybe
Right.
that's something we can work with you guys on
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, we can look at that when we do we revise
Yeah.
the regulations, looking at
Just
something
we
like
need
that, because I
leverage.
think the CR aspect of it was just kind of like, you need to do one.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
the formalities of it were left out.
Yeah,
But we're working on them.
okay.
And I apologize, I didn't catch what that was about at the beginning. I was taking notes, but I didn't know what you were talking about.
The Mass Audubon puts out a publication called Losing Grounds. Losing Ground, and it goes through the amount of open space each town has, what they might lose per development. And Ken's point was we have a multiple of conservation restrictions, which is permanently protected land in town, that is not included into that report, that we just want to see added to show that we do have additional open space in town.
I caught
Yeah.
that part. I just didn't know
Okay.
what it was called. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I apologize.
Yeah, they can't be added until the CRs,
The CR's, yeah, the CR's recorded, yeah,
Yeah.
which
yeah.
we have multiples recorded. We're slowly working our way through getting, the baselines and monitoring done and getting some completed. So we're working there. And once we get Pine Meadow done, that'll be all added into.
Sheds.
They're coming down, right?
Are they?
Well,
Oh, the
answer these
sheds.
questions a week after town meeting.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, any other commission?
I'll have an update on the sheds next week.
So I have an update as of yesterday.
Okay,
So yes, we did get out there and actually did a little cleaning.
Oh, good.
We did from Park Street down to the fence.
Oh, okay,
where I
good.
had it locked off,
Yeah.
but yeah, picked up like 3 bags of trash.
Oh, good.
You mentioned about the recycling stuff.
Yeah.
I thought they can't take technically dirty recycling, because that's basically what a lot of we picked up was dirty.
Yeah, I
Had
don't
dirt all over
know.
and everything, so.
Wash it off in a pond.
I was gonna take it down and clean it off and what, Grid had just, created.
Clearly, yeah. Oh, yeah. When I went down to National Grid and got to walk along the edge of the power station, I was just like, I drive by it, you can see some open one, you get down, there's a lot of water down there. It's like, oh.
There is.
I'm like, I didn't see it. You can't see
I
it
was
from
this
the road.
close to it yesterday.
It's a lot. So as much as I hate saying this, and I know we're in a mild drought conditions right now. We do have a week of rain coming. When they do the Bishop Road stormwater work, I am hoping for a nice dry summer.
Farmer's Almanac, I guess I saw something the other day, their prediction for Massachusetts for May and June is drier than normal and hotter than normal.
Oh,
It's like
I hate drought
I
Yeah.
do not like it, but when we have
projects.
projects that are
Yeah.
sensitive in sensitive areas, I hope for the dry areas.
Yeah.
Which, Deputy Chief Bigelow was surprised to hear me say.
So did anybody else have a chance to look at the draft regulations? So I have little picky edits.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which I will pass you.
Did it come through with, I haven't looked since
Yeah.
the last time, but did it come through totally read in?
When I send it, it's red. So what you receive, I don't know, but what I send is.
Okay.
So one of the things that I was rereading
Or
this,
print
even
it.
though
No,
worked on the bylaw and regulations before, was like wildlife habitat impact and mitigation. It's like, where does this apply? Especially, I know it says we exclude installed lawns and stuff, but when we just, and this isn't you, this is what we had before too.
Yeah.
But like, what a lot of this applies to is we've enhanced the protection areas within
The resource
Resource
yeah,
areas
the 100
and
foot buffer
buffer
zone is
zone
considered a
and
resource area.
0 to 50 and then 50
Yeah.
to 75.
Mhm.
One sentence, and this was what it was in the originally, but and we're replicating it, and try as I might, I don't understand exactly what we meant. Which is, not prohibited, where we talk about structures include, and I think we're talking about just prohibited structures, right? That we're saying inland, so that, I'm being garbled here.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
we need to specify that this is on the land that's previously undisturbed, right? Or
So-
within those buffer zone areas.
It's in the buffer zone areas. So with the new buffer zone, the 0 to the 50 to 75 that limits it
Yeah.
to structures, that would be any structure. I think what you I have to review it to see, because
Yeah.
I tried not to touch too much of what you guys had and add in my new. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to make sense, but I didn't want to change too much of what you guys
Right.
had wrote. Figured that'd be your job to go through and or somebody
Yeah.
else that's more articulate than myself
And the
to
one,
get it to
yeah.
make sense, because I'm looking at what I want to put in
Oh, yeah.
other regs, and I'm looking at ours and going, oh god, this makes me hurt. So when I added the wildlife mitigation,
Which is good.
with the town, I took it was a whole separate section. So like, okay,
Right.
this is just going to be a whole section. I'm not wrapping it into something else.
So the one phrase I found it that I think we really need to reword is what we define as undisturbed land is land determined by the commission to be of a predominantly
Okay.
natural character. That's fine. Or land which was altered, and I'm not sure what we meant, land which was altered after May 1996 without a permit from the commission. And it's like, what the hell does that mean? What the heck does that mean?
It must be something within the act itself that references that. I know stormwater systems are considered
Yeah.
exempt if they're prior to a certain time, and if it's before a certain time, a detention basin is considered a wetland, which is
Well,
how we
there are
get the
things that were-
Canada Gate one.
There are things that were sort of grandfathered if it was
Mhm.
before the act was
Yes.
passed, before 1996. But if it's land that was altered after May 1996, but without a permit, how do we even, how do we figure that out?
Does that pertain to probably the riverfront area when we did the creative materials, we had that issue with the degraded area? Is that what that's
Yeah.
probably coming from? And we don't have to have that in there. I mean, to me,
Yeah, I think I'll look at this further too and just figure, what can we
because I mean, I don't know
specify?
what you meant by that either, but I'm like, obviously it meant them something
Yeah,
to them.
so you want to have a general, vague but pointed definition of what undisturbed land is versus somebody doing landscaping in their yard that's already lawn.
Okay, so, all right,
So, I mean, because I always looked at that and I thought, that's just what we had in there before, so we
Okay.
can't blame Heather.
all right, so I'll
um,
look at that and see if I can
But
clarify.
it's like, what we mean, because if somebody altered land May 1997, and we're given a project in 2027, and it's like, how do we even determine when that alter?
Oh, you can GIS, you can go back.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd have 1997 GIS.
Yeah.
It's a satellite image. It's not the greatest, but you could see if,
Yeah.
if something was woods, if something was lawn.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're talking specifically structures,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah,
may,
I'll
may or
read-
may
yeah.
not mean that
Yeah.
it's been cleared.
I didn't write those.
Yeah.
We can't blame her. But
No, I
I'm
know.
just trying to explain it. I didn't write it.
no, but
So
that's
this is under the definition for what's undisturbed?
yeah, and I mean that's crucial for everything that follows.
Everything that follows.
Can-
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
look
Can
at
you
that.
read the specific sentence again?
undisturbed land is land determined by the commission to be of a predominantly natural character, or land which was altered after May 1996 without a permit from the commission. That's the part it's like, what does that mean now? I mean, we sort of know what it means, but what does it mean in terms of us doing, looking at any
When did
project?
you and George join the commission? Is that what date you picked?
It was before us, right? Anyway, yeah, so you look at that and I'll look at that further. and
Yeah, I would
everybody else have
also look
thoughts.
at, I was gonna pull it up here real quick, but I'll look at, because our definitions aren't in our regulations, they're in the bylaw itself.
Right.
So I'll have to look and see if there's any definition within the bylaw that states, undisturbed land, to make sure we're not contradicting ourselves.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I think when we have the section on waivers,
Yes.
the first thing we do in an independent sentence beginning is just granting of waivers is not guaranteed. Just underscore that. And when I was looking at that today, we were talking about granting a waiver for an alteration where there's no feasible alternative that provides less impact. I want stress there too that doesn't mean if there's not an alternative, a viable alternative, and we're in that no disturb area, and somebody puts in a waiver request, we don't have to give it.
Yeah, which is why you had that in the front.
Right, but that's where, you know, as it's written right now, and this wasn't your wording, this was ours, older wording, it just sort of like, where there's no, I mean, it sounds a little, we just want that underscored, I think, that waivers are not at all guaranteed.
Okay, so we probably should just define how the waiver
In bold.
process works and
Yeah.
how it's,
Yeah,
I'll double check and see how it's written
Okay.
in the planning board's area, because I think it specifies there how the planning board's allowed to grant waivers, and I think just having that
Yeah.
underscored and how a waiver can be granted and not granted, how can
Right.
be requested, I should say.
yeah.
And I believe going back to that, from what I remember, again, it goes back to the philosophy of we're not here to potentially eliminate or negate development, but how can we control it as best as possible? I think the idea was
Yeah.
there is if they can't, you know, it's like we can either do this and impact the wetland, or we can do this and it's going to cost $20 million to build this house.
Right,
I
right,
think that was kind of the idea about the feasibility aspect of it, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yeah, and then like when we had the 3rd Street, they had to use the sewer line that's on the shore,
Right.
but because the other way was to go to the DPW and get a waiver from the DPW for doing a different kind of system, because they didn't bring us the sewer line all the way
What is
down.
it, force main or something? like that,
Yeah,
right?
force
Then they-
main down, so it's like, well, yeah, it's just easier to do a temporary disturbance in that area, in that 50-foot area, as opposed to
Right.
all that work with the DPW.
Right.
Yep.
So, to your point, to say, yes, waivers aren't guaranteed, I think that's clear, but
yeah.
knowing that we're good folk.
We're flexible
We're flexible, but
within reason.
within reason, and I just want that underscored. If we think something's not within reason, we can say no and they can appeal.
Yeah, we
Sure.
have
Somewhere
the
else.
project that's
Yeah.
coming before the reversing that 135 Oak Ridge is got work within that 50-foot do not disturb, but it's already existing lawn.
Right, so it's
creating
in
more-
the do not disturb, but it's in disturbed land, so
It is
not-
adding impervious area as opposed
Yeah.
to lawn, but it's one of those things where it's like,
Yeah,
And I can take a look back in the old emails, because I'm sure I got all this stuff from all the edits.
yeah,
And it could have been just something that we went back and forth on an edit on that date,
yeah,
and somehow or another we changed the words and left the word after in,
Yeah.
and it was supposed to have been before, or something like that. And
Yeah.
It could have been just,
Yeah.
you know, this type.
Quick question before you move on to your next one. Is there any reason, would it be helpful at all if I put this document in a SharePoint so we can all see the same document on our computer and see people making comments and stuff in real time? Or would that just be
Is it-
confusing?
How difficult would that be for some people to learn?
It should just be you opening the Word
Yeah.
document.
Yeah,
It's just that it'll be saved in my SharePoint.
okay,
and then when you do be able to show up with your initials
Yeah.
or whatever.
Can you do that, or should we check with the IT person about?
I guess that would be because I would use my work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, which I don't think they'd care, but, or maybe you have access to a SharePoint you could put it in.
I could ask, the IT director, John's been on vacation this week.
Okay, well, never mind, we can talk about it.
We can talk about it later. I'll see if there's something we can do.
Would that become unwieldy if we had like little edits, like
It could
for
be,
spelling edits and stuff?
it could end up being, since it ends up being violations to open meeting.
Oh, that's true too, good point.
Well, because we have
Never
multiple comments going in outside of a meeting.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Because,
Pesky open meeting laws, never mind.
No.
Oh, we don't have SharePoint.
I thought somewhere in there we could also make sure we have a statement that when applicants, something that just clarifies, there can be RDAs or notice of intent applications that are being filed under our bylaw only, but using the state forms,
Yes,
but not getting the state will not do a,
I'm trying, but I need to do
Yeah.
the homework on that. I'm trying to create our own form, so we're not using the state form because
Yeah.
the state doesn't like us using their form,
okay,
is what I've been told.
yeah.
So
Okay.
I did get drafts from other towns. I just have to figure out how to save it so we can alter it and make our own form.
Yeah.
Because the state doesn't like us
Okay.
using theirs.
But then also clarify that, some applications come before us that are only filed under the bylaw
Yeah,
and regulations and.
that could be in the
somewhere
in the
yeah.
introduction or purpose or somewhere in there.
Yeah, okay, and, okay, so, yeah, so I just have some clarification comments, I'll send them to you.
Okay.
And then we can,
I'll throw it on the agenda for the next meeting as a discussion item. If we get to it, we get to it, and we'll
If
just
we
leave it
don't,
on
we
there.
don't.
And then
we'll
when we feel like it's good for public hearing, we'll make sure
Right.
I send to town council to review, and we'll get the public hearing scheduled for it,
okay,
and then we'll start on open space.
I would say to, while you're at this stage right now,
Yes.
start your slide deck with what the changes are now that you're proposing
Yes.
for the public hearing.
Yes. Smart. Yes, that is smart. Which one of the changes we have in there will be to remove the floodplain regulations that are in there that were approved at town meeting, and we haven't removed them out of our regs yet.
okay. Well, that's all I have for tonight. Anybody else have anything else?
It's not in our jurisdiction, we're having our deck redone, I should sit over there, but I'm not gonna move. We're having our deck redone, it's not in the jurisdiction, because it's
Yeah.
on the other side, but if you wanted to come look at anything, you're welcome to come check it out. If you want us to put up anything, we will.
It's just the lawn behind your house, right?
Yeah.
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 As long as you're not storing any materials within
I'm just gonna store them all,
all the pressure treated wood, just right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the water directly.
All the arsenic straight into the ground.
Just wanted to.
Has the contract with water and wetlands been signed by the town?
Yes.
So that's okay.
Yep. Good to go.
Okay. If there's nothing else, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. It's 8:20 adjourned.